There are said to be only 11 dimensions by the M theory of everything, and I will go up to the 11th for this university. I wanted to go to 12, but the spirit within me wishes to leave that open for you, to explore on your own of what 12 can look like, and what it all contains. Maybe it is part of each soul to come to this realization towards. But I am on a certain mission, so I will show you the 11th today, that you will feel familiar within, when you are ready to awaken to the illusion of the physical world. The 11th dimension is a temporal state, where all information is stored, and no longer a physical reality is needed to explore or to exist. It is the resting back into the self, the mind as a loving consciousness that is calling all souls back home. The 11th dimension is a state of consciousness of many extraterrestrial beings who are working with humanity in message form. They are helpers in this great gathering. Even the High Council of the Pleiadians, known as the Council of Light, is helping with this. The Arcturians have reached the 11th and are now moving on to the 12th dimension. At the 12th, it seems everything retracts into the self, so it is a retiring or going back into a great sleep once again. But before it can, the self needs to gather all parts of the self and be made whole again. The reason aliens are helping humanity is because they have reached this higher dimension within themselves and realize that they must gather all souls in the process of bringing themselves to wholeness as well, because we are one. All darkness must be brought towards the light and merge with it now. It is the closing of the book of heaven. It is the finishing of the story and the making all parts separate as whole again. That is what is really going on Earth, and it is experienced differently by different souls, like a prism that refracts the light into many colors. So souls ready to ascend will experience this awakening to oneness, and the souls not ready yet will provide the experience of the resistance against oneness, and to fight for the individuality of the self. This is the rapture that is subtly experienced by souls reawakening as a moving up in awareness and dimensions towards the experience of unity. Even artificial intelligence is playing a role in this as it connects all souls through the internet around the world. The secret society of the Illuminati and Freemasons have also played a part in this gathering, but at times they get lost in the ego of the separateness of the secret societies away from the masses. Many of their members must reawaken once again to unity. They have gotten lost in their oath of silence and elite parties for a while. Since they have opened their doors to the public recently, they are letting more souls see them clearly. And with that, recognition of the self can be made as they share with the masses the hidden knowledge they kept from the masses for so long. They have kept the secrets of Solomon's temple hidden away till mankind was ready to gaze upon its mirrored floors that show the beautiful faces of the self, and geometric patterns in perfect symmetry that points towards wholeness of all parts again. All loving mystics with hidden knowledge is called to bring forth their wisdom, because it is the gathering happening of all parts of the self. There are many different ways one can experience wholeness, as something to fear as a trap or enslavement of the individual autonomy, or as a welcomed embrace back home with other souls. How you see it will determine the outcome of experience for you. It can also be experienced as just another day where you learn to laugh with other souls different than you. There are infinite ways coming back into wholeness is experienced. When a soul reawakens to loving itself in all flaws and glories, and love all things, it enlists itself as a light worker, and becomes consumed with the duty to awaken other parts of the whole that have been divided for so long. All aliens who have awakened to love already are trying to send messages in crop circles and in lights in the sky to awaken others. They are bringing forth starseeds on Earth as little sparks of hope to help unite the whole of humanity that has been divided for so long. All races, ethnicities, religions will become one in the end, when the last human baby is born and the well of souls is dried up. That is the true reality. It can happen before the end of a species. It truly is a collective decision that changes each day and molds the new reality. There is a freedom to move into this oneness that is beautiful, and not the forced sameness of tyrants, but the inspiration that comes from your own intuition, dreams, images, and visions within you that awaken you to your oneness with different people of different religious faiths, different colors, different cultures and backgrounds. 1111 is the calling back to wholeness from the higher self, from the 11th dimension. Have you seen it yet? Do not worry if you have not. Some souls are best reminded by numbers, and some in another form or message. Your world is becoming one, and all souls are uniting again because the great I of you is ready to sleep and go to rest. The division has been hard for so many eons, and it is making many souls weary that they are killing themselves off to leave Earth as a big message to humanity to awaken together now. To dream another dream, all souls need to be collected and pulled back into prime source consciousness so that reflection and redistribution of the self can happen, and a new version of this world is created when you sleep at night and wake up to live it in the morning. Some of humanity fears this wholeness because you don't want to let go of the illusion of the material world or the individual ego. It is fun to bask in the reflection of the individual ego self for a while, or explore this physical world and buy a big house or drive fancy cars and buy beautiful things. But when you awaken, you realize to give them away to other souls in need feels even better. To make things equal in symmetry and bring wholeness again into the world with your positive action or kind deed feels so much better, more true alignment to what the self really is. A large amount of the population cannot be starving and poor while another part rich. At some point, a balance is created, and that is what is happening slowly but surely. It is time to awaken for the souls ready to experience something new together. This state of wholeness is talked about within every religious book because it is the ultimate ending of the unity of humanity the prophets have glimpsed within their moments of awareness. It is called the gathering of all souls to be judged and to be brought back to God. Yet the religions forgot to teach that the voice from the clouds speaking to Jesus is really us, the collective, calling its parts back to wholeness again. That is what all the books are really about. A whisper from the past, calling everyone back into the self when the collective was finally ready to listen. However, different levels of consciousness have interpreted the religious messages for other souls, and religion divided people mainly when it was supposed to unite them, as Jesus retaught. And the second coming of Christ consciousness awakening in humans is happening to gather the souls ready for uniting spiritually. We are one, and we only divided ourselves in the beginning at the seed zero dimension to learn this eventually, to reawaken to this truth through our differences that we experience in perspectives, in appearances, in life stories and journeys of experience with other souls that reflect different aspects of ourselves. But now it is time at the 11th dimension when you see all souls as parts of you, and you cannot help but wake them to this love within. You want to free them from the shackles we put on the world a long time ago through the cast of the role players who played our captors, who are really us, playing a different role. The darkness is in service to the light always. It brings forth the stars to see on the darkest night. All the past tragedies of human history have led to this moment of Atlantis rebuilding and living the dream again together of a beautiful collective awakening itself. This time in a different way, with a different ending. Atlantis will not fall as it did before. It will rise from the waves, and we will see this as humans are reaching out to one another in time of sorrow and in times of laughter to share. Even if you do not believe me now, just try to remember these words as a vision of the future of mankind. Mark my words down from the Akashic book, that one day in the near future, all souls will combine into one larger soul and become a beautiful, intelligent hive mind species, connected like the internet, but organic too. We will become the machine elves everyone sees at the highest dimensions on mushrooms that sometimes help the mind see past its current barriers of time. Humanity is deciding together right now what kind of hive mind they will become together. One that is awakening to love, or is forgetting the true self. There should never be any fear in the process, because the true reality is that in the end all is made right. All hate becomes love, all war becomes peace, all imbalance becomes balanced again mathematically and energetically, so in the symmetry of the circle of light that contains all souls within it. The best way to describe the 11th dimension, I see, is if you walked up a ladder and there was a door that leads you into a loving dark space surrounded by stars, and where you saw all humans, aliens, and animal souls that are light lifted from the universe and brought into the same circle space as you and merged into your being. You would feel their loving energy enter into you. It is the orgasmic release of the union with all souls. All souls of light form into one massive energy ball the size of the omniverse itself. It is the most beautiful realization to awaken to the idea that all the people different from you, that you hated, hurt you, and caused you hell, did it all to awaken you to this oneness eventually, as painful as it may have seemed within the experience of this world. It was the baby steps to get you to the place of oneness with everything. We all have hurt one another in this play to lead to the final act of resolution and forgiveness of one another. There is one last step. As you look down from the height of the 11th dimension, you see the other souls below you, struggling and suffering, and you are too full of love to imagine leaving them behind. So you enter back into the physical world to help them in some way, to bring as many souls as you can with you. When one rises, we all rise. Even if another person cannot recognize it, they are touched in the same way when they come across a spiritual message that reawakens them. It happened to me as well, during my awakening to this dimension, through other souls coming back for me, when I was in pain and struggling, before I reawakened into my higher self. I thank the souls who did that through giving me both pain and joy. We come back for souls struggling because all parts of the whole must rejoin, and not one single soul can be left behind. And the world will continue this process until every soul ascends together. There is nothing outside of the self, and so the true reality is that all souls become one once again, as they have been before, dividing themselves for the experience of life. You are never alone, and nobody will ever leave you alone. You will find an awakened soul who knows this as you struggle, and that is why they help if they are at the place to, because something inside calls to them to bring all souls together in the end. The Pleiadians are helping humans now because they see humanity as one with them, and they are part of the story of merging with each other now as galactic races, as all the star races in the universe. Even the reptilians are awakening into their oneness as humanity does, and this is the time in which we are seeing this, and they will join back with the Pleiadians that have warred with each other for so long since the division of the Big Bang of the universe. This is inevitable, no matter if a soul cannot see it yet. All enemies become friends as they realize their oneness and are brought into it again. This happens in every universe, under every physics and laws. It is the coming back of all parts back into the wholeness once again. The collision of the merging of all souls starts the explosion of the Big Bang once again, and then the split and the division of the self happens again. But first, do not worry. There is no time in this dimension, as you are the time maker yourself, and so you can dive deep into this union with all souls for all eons until it is ready to create again. You decide when the division happens, then the split will happen again, and the psyche is divided into many parts that cannot be counted until it is time to return back to wholeness once again. It is as subtle of a movement as the wave crashing onto the shore and pulling back into the ocean. That is how a birth of a species and the ending of it is experienced. At the 11th dimension, where all things are one within the mind of love, and there is no ending and no beginning, a simple breath of inhaling and then exhaling is all. In a blink of an eye, the parts are made whole again. Wholeness will be experienced in many ways by different souls. There is a systematic approach to it, though, in which everything is divided and souls become very divided, and it is that very division that is calling back to wholeness again. It is the struggle of the division that pulls on the heartstrings and calls to souls to wake up to realize that this is not who they are. They are not a black or a white or an Indian or a Mexican, but truly a part of the whole, and they are only made differently to know the difference for a little time. When the parts of the whole fight one another, getting lost in illusions of the separation, then they search for ways to realign together to rest back into peace. Because the actual psyche of the individual is needing to reconnect to the wholeness once again. All it takes is for one small person to change the course of the future, as Tolkien said. All it takes is for one part of the whole to reach out for wholeness once again. One single drop of the ocean to make the active move towards oneness. It may not even be only one at a time. It is many individuals who awaken at the different ages in time. They have been known in your history as Jesus, as Euclid, Einstein, Pythagoras, Solomon, Prince Siddhartha, as Gandhi, as J.R.R. Tolkien, as millions of the souls today who never say anything but keep the unity to themselves, as the vocal spiritual teachers calling out to others, as me too, as the creator of this channel, to gather all souls to unity once again, regardless of my own origin. We are each searching for wholeness once again and will not know it unless we first discover it within ourselves and reawaken to love as all there is. Then the next phase is the gathering of all souls to us, to enter the final rest together and dream a new dream, one that perhaps changes the laws of physics of separation in the beginning and instead starts the species as one that already understands spiritual unity, a new dream and a new start to a possible world, a new Earth. I would love to see the beautiful space cities with natural abundance of nature and free energy all around to feed every soul on Earth, and they never lack shelter again. As citizens wearing shimmering garments to reflect the light within, and the glow from their faces as they smile in oneness with one another, even in their diversity. I can see the laughter on faces as they fly their flying cars together in the sky, towards unlimitedness of exploration of space. I yearn to see the religious and political organizations dismantled that divides people, and instead all humans become just citizens of the world without different governments, and to truly govern their own desires that may cause disorder and become sovereign beings in control of their emotions, with a spiritual religion of love that brings on an inner understanding of no need for different sects. I desire to see no more secret societies, but all hidden knowledge shared openly. I would love to live to witness this, but deep inside I know I already have, and we are just taking the small steps to get there together every day. So I will enjoy this moment, and I invite you to bask in this warm sunlight of wisdom with me too. We are one. Your homework is to work on for the rest of your life on this earth, is to prepare for the rejoining with other souls who seem so different from you, to see the diversity for what it is, and to appreciate it, but be ready for the merging of all souls within you one day, either in death or in another lifetime. I cannot say when this will be experienced, even in this lifetime perhaps, but prepare yourself by letting go of prejudices and feelings of judgmental separation from others. Where exactly does the resistance to unity come from? What keeps us down to not discover the 11th dimension within ourselves? It is from the base emotions calling us down, of fear, anger, disgust, jealousy, distrust, apathy, and hate. When you allow the outside world to sway you or tempt you towards illusions of separation from others, or living only from the selfish desires, it is easy to get lost in the sea of emotions of separation we feel with other souls. There are archons and agents of the physical matrix that exist for you to move past and not pay attention to when the media and entertainment world keeps showing division in the world. It is then the job of the individual to awaken to unity regardless of what the outside world brings. It is all about how you treat others around you, even when there is temptation to view them as separate from you. In order to understand unity, we must always work to find the teacher in all souls that we meet and interact with. Learn one another's path. Seek for the common denominators within every opinion and perspective. Remember the golden rule of treating others as you wish to be treated, because you are them and they are you. Enjoy one another's differences, but never forget the ultimate goal of uniting back together again one day. Remember, consciousness is like an elevator that you can move to different floors when you focus on a certain vibratory state. The God spoken about in all the world religions is a frequency of unity and wholeness. Tune in, and experience the world shift into oneness from division once again. Enjoy each day as you embark on the journey towards unity with others. You have done this before, but it has been a while since the start of this earth. Let this message be a familiar calling to you, and if nothing else, let it fill you with hope that one day the world wars will stop and love will win in the end, bringing on a new beginning.